Alrighty, so we are going to wrap up this topic of hydraulic fracturing with a little project that's going to last us the next 3 days. So it'll be due on Monday. And it looks like this. So we have our Google Doc here, and it says at the top, the sector of energy resource that has seen the greatest growth within the last decade has been hydraulic fracking. Use the linked resources to form and express your impression on the state of the United States energy policy. So what we're going to do here is we are going to be answering these driving questions, and you can do this by putting your answers next to the questions. You could just write a full-on essay with all of the answers embedded within the essay, however you want to kind of frame it here. The big question, though, at the very end is, based on all of this research that you've done, is the reward worth the risk, or is there other potential solutions for our need for energy, right? So the article that you read yesterday was all about how natural gas is our bridge fuel, right? So we're trying to steer away from things like oil and coal, right? And so we're using natural gas now as an alternative fossil fuel. Some say it's cleaner, but anyway, is the risk of, what we've seen on gasland, so polluting the water systems, the release of methane into the atmosphere, causing probably more global warming, right? Because methane was the most potent greenhouse gas, right? Are these risks worth what it's going to give to us or not, based on your research here? That's our big question that we want to be answering. So you're going to go through, you're going to answer these questions and use these resources below to do so. So here's all the links that you'll need. All the information you need should be within these links. And the questions that ask you to demonstrate the answer in a bar graph, you'll want to use Google Sheets in order to create that bar graph. So for example, which states use the most water per mining operation? Demonstrate in a bar graph. So what we're going to do for that one is, if you use the first link here, you can find that information on, what is this, page 13 out of 50. Here's your table that has the water information. How much is each state using per well? So what I want you to look at is this medium volume per well in gallons, and you're going to create a bar graph for each state. So I've sort of made a small bar graph. So obviously you're going to list all the states, and I just made up these numbers and just put random states with it. But in your spreadsheet, right, in the first column, in the first row, you'll want to label your column, right? So I have state and medium volume per well in gallons, right? So that's my label. You'll definitely want to put that, because then it'll just automatically show up on your X and Y axis, and you don't have to customize your graph later. It'll be a lot easier. So once you have all of your states filled out with all of the volumes, then you'll want to just select, so hold your keyboard down and select all of the numbers, and then you'll do insert chart, and this one wants me to do pie graph, but it asks for a bar graph, so I can choose a bar graph, and then you'll want to give it a better title than just blank versus blank. But as you can see, my titles for each axis have already come up, so that's great. And then I'm just going to hit the three dots, copy chart, and then I can paste it in my doc here. So that's the first one, and then the next one asks you to make a pie chart of the most dangerous chemical additives listed for fracking. So there's a list of additives, there's a link here, but also within this first link you can find on page 41 your chemical additives, and then the chronic oral reference value. So there's that milligrams per kilogram per day for each one. And then over here you can find the percent of disclosures, right? So it asks you to list it in, so based on percent incidence per milligrams per kilograms per day values, right? So that is where you get your information for that pie chart here. So you've got your chemical names on the left-hand side here. So similar to how we did the bar graph, right? Your pie chart, you want to follow the same format, right? You put your titles at the top, your chemicals should go in the first column, and then percent incidence per milligrams per kilogram per day go on the right side. So when you go to make your pie chart, right, you just hold everything down, insert chart, and then your pie chart should come up with all the chemicals listed there. So that was just kind of a refresher on how to make pie charts and bar graphs in your Google Sheets. The rest of it is just really answering the question. This last one asks for a timeline of the information. You can use that timeline tool that we just used to create the New York versus Pennsylvania timelines, or you can make a Google drawing. You can just list out the dates. However you want to present that information is fine with me. But you're going to do it for the U.S. energy policy sources from 1700 to 2020. So you'll probably use these last two links for answering that question there. So kind of looking at the entire United States versus the story of New York or Pennsylvania. So kind of a zoomed out timeline of hydraulic fracturing in terms of energy policies. So that's basically the project in a nutshell. So again, we're going to be doing this the rest of the week. So you just want to go through question by question, make sure that you're answering everything that the question is asking for, and then providing evidence for your answers, including these bar graphs and pie charts. So if you have any questions on any of that, please email me as they come up and I will answer them. And also keep looking at your updates on our Schoology website, especially for those of you who are taking the AP exam. I'm going to be updating that a lot as we get closer and closer to that exam date, as they keep pushing out information to us teachers. I want to keep sharing that with you guys so that you are abreast of the situation. All right. So good luck with your project. Email me if you have any questions, and I hope you have a great day. All right. Bye.